Thanks everybody so much for joining us tonight on this snowy evening. Most of you know me, but I'm Heather Fielding. I'm the director of the honors program, and I am so thrilled to get to share with you tonight our summer and fall 2022 schedules. Can we have like a drum roll or something? Thank you, thank you. Okay, and Carly, I'm gonna have you throw the course catalog link in the chat right now. Awesome. So I think that we probably have some prospective UW Eau Claire students joining us on Zoom tonight. We are really happy to have you. Y'all have been invited to join the honors program, and we hope that you'll join us here in the fall. And these are courses that you will be able to register for. One other thing I should say is a giant thank you to the people who work behind the scenes to make our schedule possible. Starting with Allie Fine. Allie, wave your hand. This is Allie, our program associate, who the fact that you're able to register in Camp S is completely due to her. We've got Carly Bauer down here who's going to be running our chat. Megan Goshen is out there checking folks in. She's waving. And Dane, I think, are you here too? Dane, I think Dane, no, he's not here. Okay, awesome. Well, thanks very much to all of our staff for making this possible, and to our awesome faculty for wanting to teach a course with us. So without further ado, I'm gonna mention one more thing before I forget, which is that this link right here, which Carly will also throw in the chat, uwec.ly/chat-with-honors, gives you direct access to my calendar and to Allie's calendar. So you can it's very easy to make an appointment with us. So if you've got a question about anything, want some help figuring out your schedule, figuring out what's gonna fit in where, we are here for you. So please feel free to use that link as much as you want. Anyone who's interested in serving as an Honors 100 peer mentor in the fall, so that's rising juniors and seniors are eligible to do that. If you're interested, applications for peer mentoring are going to be due March 17th. The link is in the course catalog, and I'll be emailing it out tomorrow morning. Okay, that is what I wanted to start with. Without further ado, we're going to dive right into our schedule. We're going to go more or less in the order that you have on the sheet in front of you, with a few exceptions to keep you on your toes. But we are going to start out with a really special course that we've been running through the honors program for a bunch of years now. It's Honors 129. It's called Women of the Civil Rights Movement. It's a travel seminar taught by Jody Thesing-Ritter. Jody?
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you tonight. Sorry that I have to do it virtually. I have another event that starts right as I'm finishing up being with you. I have had the pleasure of teaching this course. It provides an opportunity for students to look at the civil rights movement and social justice issues that we face today through the lens of the women who did so much of the work to organize and coordinate the civil rights movement. In the course, we, as Heather said, do a 10-day travel experience. We also do a Shiro project where you study and research a woman of significance to the civil rights movement of your choosing. And we also do a social change project where you earn 15 hours of your required 30 hours of service learning. Those social change projects are one of the favorite things that students say they enjoy about the course. The travel seminar does have a special course fee of $950. I'm just going to share a quick video of the civil rights pilgrimage from our 10th anniversary trip.
I think it's so exciting that we've been able to maintain this project for 10 years. It was a student idea and a student-developed initiative, and it continues to be a student-driven experience. And I think that's the most exciting thing for me, that I've been able to provide advisement to groups of students over the last 10 years and 20 trips, and a pretty large group of students now that have served as coordinators for the trip, who've worked each year to make it better. More than 1,700 participants have been on the trip in the last 10 years. That's just really exciting, I think, both for the project itself, but for our campus as a whole and our community, because some community members participate in the trip as well.
The biggest thing that has struck me is all the names we'll never know of those people who fought and died in the civil rights movement.
The purpose of the trip is to both shine a spotlight on history and the impact of social change leaders during the civil rights movement, but we also try to make really critical connections to ways that you can use that information to make change today. So we might be meeting with someone who talks about slavery and then talk about mass incarceration today and how those things are connected, and our students are able to connect history with practical work they can do today to make change.
It's been incredible, just the people, the culture, just learning everything that has happened and meeting some of the people, some of the actual people who participated in the civil rights movement.
To be able to take part of this momentous event, the pilgrimage is huge for students, teachers, everyone basically who goes on it has walked away with something that's life-changing. So just hope that this gets to continue for many, many, many years to come, and that many students get to experience what I have.
There's a reason people want to come back, so it's like, I mean, I don't know, it's just, you don't really understand until you're here and you experience all these things and until you feel like you're actually a part of history.
So for next year's trip, we will travel in January. The course is conducted during the fall semester, and then the travel experience is in January. So I hope some of you will opt into taking this wonderful experience. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'm throwing in the chat a link to our page for the Civil Rights Pilgrimage. Thanks, Heather.
A lot, Jody. All right, moving right along. We are gonna dash over to the summer semester. We are really excited to offer an online summer course this year. It's going to be a really cool course. It's Honors 188. It's called International Current Events. It meets, not looking at R2 and IL for LE outcomes. And it is taught by Dr. Jessica Miller from French. Jessica, over to you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jessica Miller. I teach French, and this is going to be my first time teaching this honors course. And so it's called International Current Events. And the time commitment is going to be about 10 hours a week for 8 weeks. And I'm going to try to make it a multimodal. So, you're not just going to read about current events, but we'll watch, we'll speak, we'll write, and we'll also pick topics that interest you and that'll be from different disciplines. So you'll get to make interdisciplinary connections as well. So I hope to make it, really interactive. Although it's going to be an asynchronous online course, I really expect, interesting discussions and connections to your own lives. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. You can simply email me.
Yeah, there's some fairly serious international current events going on right now, Dr. Miller. So a timely course. Maybe there'll be a few less current events by then. We could hope. All right, thank you very much. We are gonna move on. I'm gonna go radically out of order just for a moment, and we are gonna talk about one of our 300 level courses. It is a brand new course, but taught by a beloved honors instructor. It's Honors 385. It's called Debating the Perfect University. It is an online course meeting R1 and integration outcomes taught by Professor Jamie Browning.
Hi, that's me. Yeah, so this, as Heather said, is a new course, and there's been a lot of debate in the country around all kinds of questions connected to higher education, how it should be funded, whether student loan forgiveness is a good idea, for example, around college athletics, whether college athletes should be paid, what the role is of trans and gender non-conforming people in college athletics, what content should be taught. You might have heard some of the debates around how issues of racism and critical race theory are taught in universities. And so we're going to look at those kinds of questions and more, and I'm sure students will be aware of some. It's going to be a very open course in terms of people bringing questions to the class for us to talk about. And we're going to kind of look at them broadly in two ways. We're going to look at the question from kind of an academic perspective, what the content of the debate is in terms of how the university should be run. And then we're also going to look at it in terms of the public political question, what kind of rhetoric is going into these debates, how are people talking about them, how are the ideas that show up in academic books being talked about on the news and so forth. So as I said, it's going to be very student run. I'm going to have students in kind of small groups looking at different issues and then presenting to the class the different sides so that the class can debate them with the kind of information they've been presented with. And I'm looking forward to seeing what students bring in terms of things to talk about. If you look in the catalog, I have a very long list of questions there that I thought of, but I'm sure there will be many more that you bring to the class. Oh, and it's all online. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to keep on going out of order so that we can kind of be interspersing our professors who are on Zoom with our professors who are here with us in person tonight. So we are going to skip ahead to Honors 147. This course is called The Intersection of Art and Science, Fantastical Mergings. Tuesday, Thursday, 3:30 to 4:45. It meets your K4 and your S3 outcomes, and it is taught by none other than the fabulous C.V. Peterson, who is an artist, like an actual artist.
Yes. Hi, welcome. I am Professor C.V. Peterson. A few of you I recognize in taking my classes. So next semester I'm teaching a 100 level class that counts for a K4 and an S3, so creative based, and it's called The Intersection of Art and Science, Fantastical Mergings. And what it is it is a course that deals with actual collaboration between art and scientists. So it's not really artwork of like drawing scientific things or being inspired by science. Instead, it's actually a collaboration of it, such as Eduardo Kotz created a glow-in-the-dark rabbit, an actual living rabbit that he worked with geneticists to insert an enzyme in it from a jellyfish that actually caused it to glow back in 2000, right? So it's kind of this conversation of artists and scientists who collaborate, who inspire each other, and each week is a different unit, which focuses on a different scientific discipline. So one week might be biology and art, the next week is chemistry and art, physics and art, and then it gets into things like cyborg and art, medicine and art, hybrid and art, space and art, things along those lines. I myself sculpt with fungus. I work with mycologists, so this is a passion project of mine. I would love to see you all there, and yeah.
CV does literally sculpt with fungus. It is pretty amazing to see. The last I looked, you were also like coating fungus sculptures in gold leaf. Yeah. Okay. Cool stuff. Okay. We are gonna move on to Honors 128. This is a course called Combating Disinformation. It meets Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 to 3:15, and it's meets K2 and integration LE outcomes. It is taught by Professor Kate Hinnant from the library. Kate?
Hello. So this course is kind of exciting because there's a sort of certain things that we cover, like the different types of disinformation, the way that disinformation affects, our democracy, the choices that we make. So the first part is looking at like the psychology and politics of disinformation. And then we really start to examine what kind of solutions that people have, because disinformation is a problem that's always existed, but it's obviously gotten much more chronic since the advent of the internet and social media. And so one of the exciting things about the course is that we never know what the content is going to be. So for example, today in the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, it has come to light that some of the more popular TikTok videos about what's going on down, in the streets and in the country of Ukraine are actually old footage that's being repurposed for people's particular, political, wanting to spin the message, the narrative about what's going on. And so that's something that we could certainly bring into class. When I taught this the first time, it was during the last presidential election. And I thought that was going to be the majority of the content of the examples we brought in, but look what happened. We had coronavirus instead. And so there's a lot of things that we can discuss, and there's more and more research on what the actual material effects of disinformation are on people's choices, especially in relation to like medical choices. So it's kind of an interesting class in that there's just a fire hose of content that we can sort of choose from in discussing disinformation. So, but if you have any questions about it, just let me know.
Thank you, Professor Hinnant. We're gonna move ahead to Honors 152. This is a course called Exploring the World Through Schitt's Creek. Back by popular demand after last fall. The course meets Tuesday, Thursdays from 5 to 6:15 p.m. It's going to get your S1 and R1 LE outcomes, and I'm very pleased to introduce the instructor, Hannah Luedtke.
Thank you. Yep, I am Hannah. I have usually teach in women, gender, and sexuality studies, but I'm going to take like 30 seconds to say that I'm also the new sexual assault advocate on campus. A lot of students don't know that we have CASA on campus, the Center for Awareness of Sexual Assault. So I'm one of 3 confidential sources on campus that you can come to if you have any issues, and I don't have to report it to anybody. So I'm here. I'm in Hibbard. Find me if you need me. Hopefully you never need me. That's my hope. Yes, I am teaching this course on Schitt's Creek again. I see a few students who took it in the fall. It was so fun that even when I got this other job, I said, yes, please, let's teach it in the evening so we can do it again. We spend basically the first 8 weeks, I think is what it ended up being, watching the entire series very quickly together, and learning how to talk about other sources, like TV shows, as like legitimate text, that it's not just like reading old white guys anymore. There's other valuable forms of media coming out now. So we discuss like family relationships, queer issues, class issues, all sorts of things that come up through the context of the show. And students pick a topic they want to research, and we spend the end of the semester creating podcasts, which I was super impressed with all the podcasts last semester. So if you are interested in them, most of them are posted online. You can find them. They're very excellent. And I hope to see some of you in the fall.
Thank you, Hannah. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna dash back, moving, I don't know, this is totally not order by number, but roughly in my mind it is just a little bit. So we're gonna dash back up to Honors 133. This is a course called Global Post-Apocalyptic Fiction. It's my class that I get to teach. We're going to meet Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday from 9 to 9:50. This is going to be a K3 and an R2. This is going to be a reading intensive course where really all we're going to do is read and talk about what we're reading. Very discussion focused course. These are all books. Dylan is laughing because he had to discuss a bunch of books with me last semester. We will read probably about 6 novels. They're going to be from all over the world, sharing in common that they are books about the end of the world. This is sort of not the kind of fiction that I study myself in my own research, but it is what I read for fun. Whatever that says about me, I guess. So I've this course is really fun for me to teach because these are books I really love a lot. I'm still finalizing the list of texts, but they're likely to include Margaret Atwood's novel *The Handmaid's Tale*, Colson Whitehead's fantastic super literary zombie novel called *Zone 1*, the Portuguese Nobel Prize winner Jose Saramago, his novel *Blindness*, in which everyone in the world goes blind. These are some pretty awesome books. Plus some text from Japan, Russia, I think. And we'll be thinking a lot about like why writers are so, why this genre of fiction has become so significant in this particular historical moment. And looking at how these novels think about time, think about issues ranging from climate change to inequality to reproductive freedom and all kinds of things. So it's a fun class. Would love to have you all there. We are going to move on to Honors 139. Professor Bell, are you out there? You're there. Yep, cool. This is a course called Progressive Education at the Santa Fe Indian School. It's going to meet Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to 11:50. It will meet your K3 and R1 designed for diversity outcomes. And it is taught by Professor Bob Bell from American Indian Studies.
Okay, this class is actually what I wrote my thesis about. And it is a very interesting topic in the fact that in the boarding schools that were all set up to actually destroy American Indian culture, their languages and everything, there was one school from 1900 to 1934 that applied actually progressive education type of things that were actually preparing these students to live in the new world they're going to be in. We're going to look in this class at what the United States wanted in Indian education, in other words, education for extinction. We're also going to look at the Dewey's, Thomas Dewey's laboratory school in Chicago and see how those particular principles were being applied at the Santa Fe Indian School. Not only that, we're going to look at how the school evolved into the Institute of American Indian Art that it is today. It has an interesting following, and there were some great American Indian artists that actually came out of the school through this time period. So I hope to see some of you in the fall. It is an interesting topic, and it definitely goes against the grain of what you hear about Indian boarding schools, and it is a very fine line to teach what they were doing here versus what everybody else was doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, to scramble your brains, we're going to move on to very, very different topic. Next up, we have Honors 156, which is a course, a brand new course for honors that we're really excited about. It's called From Page to Stage, Oral Interpretation of Literature, Tuesday, Thursdays, 8 to 9:15 a.m. This is going to get your S1 and your S3 LE outcomes, and it is taught by the director of our forensics program here at UWEC, Chris Outzen.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. As she said, my name is Chris Outzen, and I serve as the director of forensics here. Forensics referring to competitive intercollegiate speech and debate activities. So you may have had competitive speech and debate teams at your high schools. If you did and you saw students performing literature, that activity is actually what inspired this class. And it was also partially inspired by my own experiences and love for literature. Even though I teach in communication and journalism, as a shy child with one active brother that I didn't get along with, my solace was books. And then in my freshman year of high school, I met a wonderful teacher who showed me how your experience of literature changes when you take literature, something that maybe wasn't even intended to be performed in the first place, and incorporate your body into the performance, incorporate your voice into it, and how that actually functions as a new way to analyze literature. So when you've sat in literature classes before and pulled pieces of literature apart, that's what we do through performance activities. So this is going to be a really collaborative, discussion-based class. It's going to be a lot of fun, creative, playful performance exercises. There is also, I know this is probably a selling point, there's no textbook for this class. Your readings will just be cool literature that then we apply the concepts we want to learn about to that literature in the classroom setting. So I'm really excited about this class. I think it's a lot of fun. There's far worse ways you could spend your 8 a.m. Hour. So come have fun and join us in From Page to Stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. All right. We're going to stay in kind of an artistic mood with our next class. This is also a brand new course for honors. It's honors 142. It's called Women Composers in Society, a Historical Perspective. It's Tuesday, Thursdays, 9:30 to 10:45 a.m. It's going to meet your K4 and R1 LE outcomes. And it is taught by Dr. Julietta Rabens from Music and Theater. Julietta?
Hi, I'm very excited about teaching this. Now, is my video apparent to others? Okay. Well, Women Composers in Society, a Historical Perspective. It's a course where we're going to discuss the lives and artistic contributions of women composers within the historical context. The focus is mostly on the biographical approach over like stylistic analysis. So you don't need any musical background to explore the content of this course. Basically, we're going to have some discussions over source readings that things that were written at the time that reveal the societal attitudes about women composing music. And then the students will primarily be choosing composers they find of interest and presenting them, sharing the information that they research with the rest of the class. So you get to feel a lot of personal ownership over the material because you get to choose which composers to research, and there's actually hundreds. And what's fascinating is for all the great composers we know of, you know, Chopin, Mozart, we think of all these people, they had sisters, they had daughters that were actually quite high-level composers. And then there's also additional ones that we that aren't connected to famous current names. So it's a very exciting class, and you will get to discover information about people that have been overlooked for all these years. And we get to do a lot of listening to music. Sometimes there are recordings because there are people who research and make the recordings, but in some cases there aren't, but there's a little bit of information that you can find. So I'm very excited to teach this, and I think everybody will have a lot of fun.
Julietta, would you mind telling us just a little bit about yourself?
Oh, well, I am a composer, a woman composer of the current time. Yes, my doctorate is in music composition, and then I also have a master's in composition and a master's in harp. So I've done a lot of composing for harp, and as well as some larger ensembles.
Thank you very much. I wanted everybody to like understand why there were all these harps behind you. This is very cool.
My house. This is my living room. This is how I live.
that is a scene from the life of a professional harp player. So There you go. Awesome. Thank you. All right, we're just gonna keep on this like creative track we're on here. We're gonna move over to Honors 178. This is a course called Creative Problem Solving. Meets Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9:30 to 10:45. It's going to meet your S3 and integration LE outcomes. And it is taught by a renowned expert in creativity, in the study of creativity, Dr. Hlas from Languages.
Thank you. I hold in my hand a paperclip. I'm going to give you each 30 seconds to individually think about all the uses you can for a paperclip. Those of you online can enter your ideas in the chat. Those of you here, start thinking. 30 seconds. All right, how many ideas did you get? 4. How about anybody else? 2. 3. All right, online, anyone say how many ideas that they got? Just one idea. So given more time and more practice sharpening these creative abilities like fluency, people who are good at this can come up with over 200 ideas. Because they look at the paperclip and they say, can I change its size? Can I change the material it's made out of? So going back to the ideas that you had, what were some of them? What were some of the ideas you had for a paperclip? Fishing hook. Chip bags, clip. Unplugging drains, great. So we also want to think about the type of categories you came up with. If you only came up with a paperclip to hang things, that's one category. But if you think of it as a chip clip, a bookmarker, right, to scratch something, that's called flexibility of thinking as well, coming up with a variety of ideas, not just quantity, but also quality and type of variety. These are the type of skills we'll work on in creative problem solving. We'll do that by engaging in short, spontaneous creative challenges that you'll design and solve, and then also longer term challenges where you'll pick an interest or a domain that you're very interested in, and you'll explore what creativity looks like in that domain. So I hope you all join me in creativity or creative problem solving in the fall.
Thank you, Anne. Okay. Using a different side of our brain, we're going to move on to Honors 188. This is a course called Critical Issues in Global Health. It's going to meet Wednesdays from 1 to 3:45 p.m. It's going to get you your R2 and integration LE outcomes. And it is team taught by 2 of our outstanding nursing faculty, Dr. Mary Canales, who couldn't be with us tonight, and Dr. Mohammed Alasagheirin, who is here. Over to you.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. This course is called Current Issues in Global Health. We had been teaching this course since 2015, and every year we learn new things and new tricks and a new way of thinking from our students. The topics in this course are ranging from diseases that we call them communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. We also talk about nutrition, child health, maternal health, and men's health. We talk about global health issues in the US and all over the world. And of course, you can't talk about global health without talking about COVID-19. So we developed with Dr. Canales sub-segment of this course where we talk about how each country respond to COVID-19 pandemic and how the healthcare system in these countries evolved over time with COVID-19 pandemic. Students in this course are very engaged in the teaching process. We ask the students to present one of the global health cases. the students are paired with another student, and if we have enough students, we'll have 3 in each group. Each group will also present about one of the countries of their choice. And for the last 2 years, we had students are interested in Italy, Brazil, US, and Germany. So the students are very engaged in our class. We also talk about what makes certain people, certain groups, and certain countries healthier than other countries. And we discussed the social determinants of health in the US and outside overseas. Other topics that we are also interested in is health policies and health insurance. And we cover the health policies in the US and health policies in overseas in Europe and in Africa and in Asia. And usually this topic is also very interesting for the students because they will discover that the US has a unique healthcare system that is not resembled in any other country. Other topics that we also touch base on include mortality rates, infant mortality rates, and child health. And we talk about how the children's health are different in the US than in other countries.
Dr. Alasagheirin, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so my name is Muhammad Alasagheirin. I am originally from Jordan. I had been at the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire since 2014. And my area of interest is in refugees' health. I worked with the WHO since 1998. And I worked in 3 continents, in Asia, Africa, and in the US. My specific area of interest is about the refugees who came from North Africa, and specifically from Sudan and Somalia. For these people, we are interested in how the environmental exposures overseas or living in the refugee camps can expose them to long-term chronic diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. So you can tell that when we talk about global health, we will be talking about refugees' health. Specifically, like now we have many Afghan refugees comes to the US. We will be talking about what kind of challenges and what kind of stress these people are going through and how that will impact their health in the long term.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have two 100 level honors colloquia courses where the faculty were unable to join us tonight. So I invite you to read the descriptions in our course catalog. They're both really awesome courses. Honors 122, because internet, language change in the 21st century with Dr. Lindsay Walter from English. Dr. Walter is a linguist. And honors 135. You could think of this as sort of the sequel to last fall's witches course. Perhaps it's our course on vampires, just taught by Professor Sarah White. And that is going to be a remote learning course that will meet on Zoom. Professor White, I will get her to make a video. She is one of the best teachers I've ever encountered in my career. I'll just mention that I had students from her class this past fall pleading with me to get her to teach for us again because of the sense of community that she manages to create in her classes, even though they're on Zoom because she lives in Indiana. So just wanted to mention that. 2 really awesome courses. So that's our 100 level colloquia. We're going to completely switch gears for a minute. And I want to ask to come up a longtime honors instructor and friend of honors who teaches the honors section of Accounting 201, Introduction to Accounting, which we're very fortunate to be able to offer just about every semester. It's going to meet Monday, Wednesday, 2 to 3:15, and this is one of those College of Business core courses. and it is taught by Professor Cheryl Gilberstadt, who also has has had an extremely interesting career path that I will ask her to share a little bit about.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm glad I could join you tonight. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name's Cheryl Gilberstadt, and I didn't take the straight path. I started out, I was thinking I would go into public accounting, and the path I took was I went to law school, worked at what was Arthur Andersen. They're not around anymore. From there, I decided I wanted to go into the public sector, and I was the state of Minnesota's auditor for many years, for 10 years, did all the audits throughout Minnesota. And as an attorney, I testified in all the rate case proceedings. Did that for 10 years, and then I worked at a law firm for a few years. When I moved to Eau Claire, knew I wanted to teach, so I brought my experience with me, and I've been teaching here now, going on 18 years, so time flies when you're having fun. Let me tell you a little bit about principles of accounting, and for all those who are really interested in learning a language, this is the class for you. It's the language of business. Now, in this class, we're really going to understand the nature of a business. So we're going to do a lot of creative problem solving, trying to think about why do companies do what they do, and trying to have a feel for and what does it mean for all of us. We're going to do a lot of work on risk. So what is it that creates a risk? We're going to look at a lot of fraud cases. The attorney in me gets all excited about that. And we're going to look at, actually, one of the cases involves our own county in Eau Claire. We had a huge case of embezzlement involving the county treasurer. What was it within the county that opened up the county for risks of embezzlement for an extended period? We're going to talk a lot about risk assessment. We're going to do some evaluation, of course, with the benefit of hindsight, and think about, well, what changes could be made, and in the future, how can we try and minimize risk? So we'll do a lot of problem solving. We're going to do a lot of case analysis for the honor students in the classes. First, we form our foundation for the course. After the first 4 chapters, we're really going to delve in, looking at the accounting literature, take a look at a number of different cases involving fraud, thinking about what was it that opened up a huge window of opportunity for fraudulent activity to occur, and what changes could a company have made. We're also going to think about penalties, and I think this is really interesting, especially the lawyer in me gets all excited. Many of these cases are settled with no admission of guilt, and we're going to talk a lot about why is that? What does it mean? We're going to talk a lot about ethics too in the class. Just because from an accounting perspective something might make sense, is it a good decision? What does it mean for the economy? Who else has a stake in some of these decisions that are being made? And of course, during COVID, we're going to talk a lot about the impact of COVID on business operations. And for many companies, COVID's been a great thing. It's hard to imagine COVID's good for anything, but from some businesses, such as Amazon, certain other businesses, if you're in the business of producing masks, COVID's been a great thing. And we're going to talk about what does it mean for other sectors within the business community, such as the restaurant industry. It's been a really difficult time. So we're going to talk a lot about risk assessment, do a lot of work on case analysis. I will have a chance to look at accounting literature. It's an exciting class. You'll get to learn the language of business. So I hope you'll join me and think about signing up. Thank you.
Awesome. So before we get into our 300 level colloquia, I'm going to ask Anna and Sarah from the Honors Student Steering Committee to talk to us for just a second about peer advising. We invite all of you to help out your fellow honor students through some peer advising that's led by our student org. Sarah?
Hi, my name is Sarah. If you don't know me, I am one of the co-directors of education for the Honor Student Steering Committee, HSSC. And we're looking for peer advisors right now. If you want to be a peer advisor, what you're going to do is hang out in the Honors Commons and be available for students to come ask questions about honors classes, honors credits, and the different options, or just registration in general. It's not a huge time commitment, and it'll be fun. It'll look good on a resume. So if you're interested, look in the honors headline that was sent out yesterday. The application will be there. More details will be in there. And if you're sitting here and you're thinking, wow, this is so many classes, like how am I going to choose what I want to take? You might want to come to peer advising. In a couple of weeks, we'll have like the schedule for when peer advising is going to be in the honors headline. So, yeah. Thank you.
And don't worry, we will train you, peer advisors. We will have a training session. You will be a master of the honors program by the time I'm done with you. All right. Well, did that sound threatening? I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. While we're talking about HSSC, Annika, can I get you to come up for just a second? I want to invite up one of the co-presidents of the Honor Student Steering Committee, Annika Dennison, because I'm not sure how much everybody knows about HSSC, so she's going to give you a little plug.
Yeah, hello. Like I said, I'm Annika. I'm one of the co-presidents of the Honor Student Steering Committee, which some of you may know. It is sort of the student org side of the honors program. We work really closely with the program. We help, provide feedback and stuff behind the scenes. So we do stuff like some of us sit on the Honors Council. Also, of course, we provide things like peer advising or honors helping honors, other programs like that. But we're also, just a student org. We do our own social events. We did a Harry Potter night last semester. That's kind of a long-standing tradition of ours. We're hoping to go roller skating the next couple weeks, which we're really looking forward to. Yeah, and then also we always like to mention that we have a lot of leadership opportunities. Of course, we have our co-directors of education. Sometimes we split up roles just to make things a little easier. I'm a co-president. But it's a really good way to sort of learn how the honors program works behind the scenes as well, because you get to work with honors staff. You get to lead and develop your own programs. And of course, then you also just get that sort of student org club experience as well, both the leadership and sort of the community building aspect of it. We're a really chill group. We meet every other Thursday, 6:30 p.m. in the Bridgman basement. Our next meeting is going to be on the 3rd, so if you're interested, come hang out. I always love to see new people. Yeah, Anna, Sarah, am I missing anything? Okie doke. All right, yeah, hope to see you guys there.
All right. We're going to dig into our 300 level courses with another brand new course that I'm super excited about. So it's called Honors 358, From the Other Side of the Bed, Exploring Interpersonal Communication. It's going to meet Monday, Wednesday from 3:30 to 4:45. It's going to offer S1 and integration for LE along with 15 hours of service learning. And it's taught by Dr. Meg Lagunas from nursing. And I feel very particularly proud of this course because I recruited Dr. Lagunas at when I volunteered at one of the vaccine clinics on campus, like almost, I don't know, last spring, and chatted her up, and she was like, wow, I've got ideas, and here she is.
Yeah. So nice to meet you all. Like I was introduced, Dr. Meg Lagunas. Please call me Meg, regardless if you come to class or not. So I have kind of a fun background. I'm a nurse by training, but what I do here at the university is I'm the director of simulation. I get paid to play with dolls all day long, okay? It's a pretty awesome gig. So one of the things that I am most passionate about is exponential learning. I think we learn best when we jump in and we do it with our whole body. So that is the lens that I am bringing to this course, okay? This course is going to start out with a little bit of textbook knowledge because we got to have a little bit of knowledge, right? And we're going to focus on professional communication skills. Probably going to be a little bit of a review. You guys are probably all pretty good at communicating, but sometimes it's good to refresh those. And we're going to think about how, when we're speaking in a professional setting, whether it's as a teacher, whether it's as a nurse, whether it's as a business person, we have to talk a little bit different, right? Communication changes, okay? We're also going to talk a little bit about how we work together, okay? Then we're going to do a whole heck of a lot of improv because that's just fun and it gets us out of our chairs, okay? And then the rest of the semester is actually going to be an opportunity for you to get to be a standardized participant. You get to use that improv, you get to use those communication skills in a structured way in which you get to be a patient or a family member or what other things we can think of and dream up. Okay, and you will get to do those opportunities in a wide variety of ways. Some of them might be in the nursing building, working with some of our nursing students. Some of them might be over in special education, working with some of the special education teachers as they're practicing talking to families and having conferences, right? Some of them might be with athletic training as they're getting to think about treatment plans, okay? you get to be the other person and you get to observe how you interact with other people and you get to practice those things. Okay? So as you can hear and see, I like getting up, I like moving. It's going to be a class that is not going to involve a lot of chairs, but it is going to involve a lot of interacting. So if you're interested, come and hang out with us.
This is the first time I've heard someone advertise their honors course as not having many chairs. I love it. That's fantastic. All right, we are going to move ahead to Honors 387, another brand new course for us. It's called Right to the City in a Global Context. It's going to meet Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 3:15. You're going to get an R2 and an R3 from this course, and it's taught by Professor Jonathan McCombs from Geography and Anthropology.
Hi, everybody. So I'm sorry I can't be with you all today. I'm having some health issues, but yeah, I'm really excited about this course. This is a course that if you are interested in social justice, if you are interested in activism, if you're interested in social theory, this is absolutely the course for you. Really what we're going to be doing is it's going to be set up like a seminar format where, I'm going to assign a reading and then we'll come together and just kind of talk about it in an open-ended discussion. And yeah, what we're going to be exploring is how cities come to be across the world, basically. And we're going to be looking at a number of different case studies. We're going to be looking at them from a number of different theoretical perspectives. And really the core question that we're going to be asking is, how is it that these, broader power structures like racism or sexism or heteronormativity, how is it that they actually shape cities and the built environment? And so, yeah, I'll say that for me, in my background, I'm an urban geographer by training. I know that I came to geography very late, and the stuff that got me really into this discipline is the stuff that we're going to be exploring in this class. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about it, and I really hope to see some of y'all in it. So.
Jonathan, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sorry. I'm an urban geographer. I'm actually at the very end of my PhD right now. I'm hopefully I'm going to finish it at the end of the semester. Basically, my research and a lot of my passion is in post-socialist cities, and so I look at I study anti-racism in Budapest, Hungary, and how it has inflected the process of urbanization in Budapest since really the mid-19th century. But at the same time, too, I'm really invested in social justice and activism here in the United States, and also in that context as well. And so, this is something that it's just generally, I think, something I do. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my background, I would say. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, we are going to move on to Honors 328. This is a course called Food, Environments, and Healthy Communities. It's going to meet Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from noon to 12:50. You'll earn your K2 and integration LE outcomes. Plus, this course is also going to involve 30 hours of service learning. And it is taught by Dr. Brianna Rockler from Public Health and Environmental Studies.
All right. So if it wasn't clear, 30 hours of service learning means we, like your class, will not be sitting much. So this class is kind of a build-up of, or a build-on from a class that was offered last fall, which was a food justice course. So we're structuring the course around these, I guess, values of food justice, including equity and determinants of health and sustainability, climate change. There's a lot of different factors involved within food justice and the degree to which we actually get to choose our food versus how our environment influences what we actually eat. So part of that course, we did a very small assessment of the food system here in Eau Claire, and we realized there's a lot of gaps that need to be addressed. So I talked to City Council about this, and we came up with a project. So we are going to do a community food assessment. So going into various food outlets, food establishments, various neighborhoods, and evaluating the food options that are available to the community of Eau Claire. All of that includes like the perspectives of individuals and where they can access their food, how affordable their food is, and what options are available to them. And then we get to compile a report all together and present it to City Council. So hopefully influencing the food environments that we encounter down the road and future generations encounter, and creating a healthier environment for everyone locally at least. Yes, about me, I am Brianna Rockler. I have my PhD in public health. I also have my master's in public health. I mainly study food systems and hunger in food systems and the social safety net, which includes programs that allow us to access food. So I talk a lot about food all the time, and also nutrition. So yeah.
Thank you, Brianna. All right, with our next class, we're going to get back back into the land of art and literature a little bit. With Honors 332, this course is called Octavia Butler, Fictions, Influences, and Other Writings. It meets Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3:30 to 4:45 p.m. It'll earn you your K3 and R1 LE outcomes. And it's taught by Dr. Janice Bogstad, who we're really happy to have back with us in honors. Dr. Bogstad has a PhD in comparative literature. Am I right about this? And worked and she was a librarian here.
Hi, I'm really glad to be back too. I've been, whoops, there goes the book. I've been working with my husband in recovery, not from COVID, from something else for a while. So I've been away. I recently turned 72, which means I've been reading science fiction and fantasy for over 66 years in English, for over 25 years in French, and for over 20 years in Chinese. I haven't done much with the German yet. In any case, in a lot of ways, my career has followed two paths. So you see here a scholarly work my husband and I edited and wrote for on Tolkien. You see here one of the first publications I ever did, strangely enough, on Octavia Butler. She became a guest of honor at our conference in Madison, which was the first feminist science fiction conference held in the country, in the United States. There goes the book again. It doesn't like the platform. So I became interested in Butler in the late 1970s because of a number of reasons. One of them is that we were of an age and of a size. We were both over 6 feet, but we had very different backgrounds. And she had just come up with 3 novels that were published by what we all knew to be a not very good publisher. So nobody paid much attention to her. They didn't market or anything. She went from that relative obscurity to winning a MacArthur Genius Award for her work. Within a very short space of time, by 1995, she had won that award. And she was not on. Okay. And she was, she's now being taught and had dissertations, master's theses, etc., being written about her in the literature of the teaching of English, in women and gender studies, in science fiction and fantasy critical theory, which there's a lot of, you may not be familiar with it, and with one of the other areas that really interests me, she is a Black woman. You can't really see. She was born in 1947, and her fiction incorporates all sorts of historical references. She became first famous for a book called Kindred, although she had written other books, because, and I don't know how many of you have ever heard of Octavia Butler, but she became famous for Kindred because it combined science fictional tropes, is what we call them. Time travel is a trope, with an examination of antebellum Southern slavery. And but she's also done a series which takes us back to Middle Passage, what the Middle Passage was all about in the history of slavery, et cetera, going up to the present and actually up into the near future. So we have lots of opportunities to look at the history and cultural influences of this complicated problem of how it is that our culture treats people of color, and especially Black people. You know, what kinds of assumptions go back into it. But at the same time, she's also writing very futuristic fiction. She also has a series about vampires, for example, and uses vampires as aliens to look at that kind of metaphor. So she was born in Pasadena, California. Her mother was had very little education and was a maid. And she was told all of her life that she would not, that Black women didn't become science fiction writers. And so she had that to overcome, you know, very different from my background, but we really kind of bonded. For most of the time we knew each other, most people who were starting to be influenced by her writing did not realize that she had a female partner. And unfortunately, we lost her in 2006. So she didn't finish 3 of the series that she had started. So I was following her as a science fiction fan and a publisher of amateur publications at the same time that I was pursuing an academic career and trying to integrate and get academic critical theory interested in what she was doing and what science fiction authors were doing. So the other thing to say about that is she was not only the first Black woman writer, the first science fiction writer to ever win the MacArthur Genius Award. She won the same year as Virginia Hamilton, a Black writer of young adult fiction. So as you can tell, I'm quite excited and have been excited by Butler for a long time. And especially the way that she follows and we talk about displacing. She estranges very current and historical events that have to do with how we understand ourselves, our past and our future by putting it into science fiction. So the whole way that science fiction works to estrange things so that we can look at them without all of the other social contexts that blind us. So we will be doing a lot of reading. We'll be doing critical reading. We'll be doing presentations where we pull ourselves into these various periods that she mirrors in her work. And a lot of responsibility for the students. There's lots of discussion, preparation you need to do to come to the class. So hope to see you. And this will be the 3rd time that I've taught this class. And it's, I also taught classes on Tolkien, on Game of Thrones, and Introduction to Science Fiction for honors. So hope to see you there, and I think we'll have a really good time. I get some fascinating papers. One of the papers actually looked at her economics. He was in business. He looked at her economic picture for a certain series of books and looked at a country who had gone through similar things and explained how her extrapolation differed from what actually happened. So a lot of really fascinating things to explore. I haven't come anywhere near to covering them all. So I think that's probably enough.
Not at all. That was fabulous. Thank you so much. All right, our next course is Honors 345, a brand new course for us called the Concept Album. It's going to meet Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 1 to 1:50. It'll earn you K4 and S1 for LE, and it's going to be taught by an instructor many of you will be familiar with, Andrew Suralski, who teaches our podcasting course usually. He's branching out now with this new course. And Andrew is one of the folks who runs our Center for Writing Excellence on campus.
Yes, I hope everyone can hear me okay. Feel free to flag me down if you can't. My name is Andrew. I teach in the English department. I've been here for about 6.5 years, I think now. Wow. I also, as Dr. Fielding stated, I also help run the Writing Center on campus. So even just looking at the names of people online here, I've had a number of you in class in the past, and also some that I'm teaching, working with this semester too. So I'm glad to see that. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. Something came up, but this course in the fall is going to be an in-person course. I'm very psyched about it. I wrote some notes down here, so I'll try not to read off of them too much. This has been kind of percolating in my mind for at least a couple of years now. I'm a big fan of audio. I have always been, as long as I can remember, been a big music nerd, and a bit of an English nerd, being an English person by trade. So I think as I've been teaching the podcast class for about 3-4 years now, this idea of concept albums has been kind of the next step for me. And I'm so glad to have the opportunity to kind of work with you all in this in the fall. So to back up a little bit for those that are maybe not up on the term, concept albums, or we're just talking music albums here. Concept albums are those that are typically, unified by a central theme. That theme is oftentimes a narrative theme, or sometimes it's something that's instrumental. So thinking of the sum is greater than the individual pieces, that it's usually telling a story. And among the reasons why I'm really interested in this is that, especially today, the way that many of us listen to music in the streaming age doesn't always lend itself well to complete listens of a 50-minute album or something like that. So I'm interested to kind of, go through this journey with you all, just to kind of talk about albums from the past and into the present, to kind of learn more about this form, and also kind of really look at them, look at these albums as cultural texts, and the cultural texts reflect the society that they were produced, especially at the time that they were produced. So, if we'll talk about old ones that your dad and your grandpa, listened to back in the day, like Pink Floyd's The Wall, or David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust. Of course, those are kind of seminal works in pop music, but we're also going to go to newer text as well too. So from the 2000s with Radiohead's Kid A, Green Day's American Idiot, Frank Ocean's Channel Orange, a huge album from the early 2000s, Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City, and Beyonce's Lemonade. So I'm really excited about this class. As far as what the vibe is going to be like, similar to, there's a couple of threads that I see in this new class from my honors course and that I've taught in the past about podcasts. And one of those common threads is that it's going to be very discussion based, very conversational. I want to hear from everyone. I like to cultivate hopefully a nice atmosphere where everyone feels comfortable giving their thoughts on this, as is the case with the arts and talking about music. There's no single right or wrong answer to these texts. So I want to hear from everyone in terms of their perspective on it. I foresee us doing weekly kind of deep dives of individual albums and kind of scrutinizing them, looking at them beyond the surface level. But one of the big things that I'm really, the main thing that I'm looking forward to with this is that, music is all about discovery and learning new things. So my hope or my expectation is that many of you will learn new things and find new music as a result of taking this class. But also selfishly, one of the main reasons why I want to have this class is that I can learn things too. So there are, I'm only throwing out a handful of examples of concept albums that we can discuss as a class, but I want everyone in class to be able to kind of choose one and present on it and discuss it with the class. One that they find interesting, one that they find relevant, and something that is speaking to the society that produced it. So I'm super psyched for this class. I hope to see you there. And yeah, I can't wait.
Andrew, I'm sorry that you could not see the reaction in the room here. Yeah, we had some cheering.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Would you tell us your favorite concept album?
Oh my God. Well, I think I showed my hand a little bit with Radiohead. I was that moody college student that was way too into Radiohead, but I'm honestly, I'm excited to see where I go now. I feel like I'm out of touch to a certain extent, so I'm selfishly using this opportunity to learn more from students. So
Awesome. All right. All right, we're gonna stay in the arts for our next class. This is another brand new course for us. It's Honors 347. It's called A Queer Lens, Representation in Art, Photography, and Film. It's going to meet Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12:30 to 1:45, and you will earn K4 and S3 for this course. And it is taught by Professor Ellen Mahaffy from Communication and Journalism, and she is also like a professional photographer. So.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to teach yet another honors course. This will be my third course. And I actually was like, oh, what do I teach? What do I teach? I have so many options. And my inspiration actually started with Jack Halberstam's book, The Queer Art of Failure. And I'm like, okay, is everybody going to be on board with the term queer and even failure and maybe even abstract? So I'm like, okay, do I have to kind of like make this a little bit more friendlier? But why use the word queer? And I am actually the co-founder of Oak Queer Film Festival. It ran from 2010 to 2018. And we had a lot of pushback about that term. And I'm like, but it is an inclusive term. It is a way to reclaim that derogatory term. It's inclusive and it didn't silo us into an LGBT category. So to be queer is to be purposely abstract from the norm, to resist normative presumptions, as Halberstam states. So I am an artist, I'm a photographer, and I have an MFA, and I also happen to be queer. So you have all of my loves into one course. So this is like really exciting for me. So in this course, we hope to read some Halberstam, some other kind of queer art theory, feminist theory, trying to get some grounding on it. Really try to think about what is art and how it can actually be political. So being in existence in this space, political. We're constricted to heterosexual norms. So what would a world look like if we didn't have marriage? Something to ponder. What would your queer utopia look like? So one of the other texts is from Jose Esteban Munoz, Cruising the Utopia and Then and There of Queer Futurity. So I like to think about what could a queer world look like. Activist writer Marcy Blackman has stated, I bother people when I move through the world, and I like that. So in essence, how can we claim our space? How can we be? So we can look at alternative visions for life, love, labor. So we're looking at, and through art making, we can potentially visualize this. Folks have probably heard of Alasagheirin Menon, and they also state claiming your identity without apologizing. So I hope to have major research projects. So basically taking a queer artist, research, kind of like kind of look at what they're doing and present it to the class. I'd also like you folks to get messy and play and, you know, figure out how could you create your own queer art? What message do you want to put out there? How will you be political? And you don't have to be an artist and you don't have to be queer. So I hope that you folks will come and join us in the fall. And basically, to be queer is to purposely abstract from the norm, to resist normative presumptions, As Harmony Harmon states, demanding group and self-identity is in an art one means to resisting oppression. The art making process is a tool for making these demands and changes. This course will examine the politics of gender and sexuality through a variety of artistic practices. So, thank you.
Thank you. That is going to be an important class. All right, we are on our last 300 level honors colloquia that we're offering in the fall. And it is a long-standing tradition in the honors program. It's honors 389. It's called Taking the Measure of Sustainability. It'll be Mondays and Wednesdays from 2 to 3:15. It comes along with your R3 LE outcome, and it is taught by none other than Dr. Jim Boulter from Public Health and Environmental Studies and also Chemistry.
Hi all, nice to be with you, at least virtually. Sorry, I'm not there with you in person tonight. I'm Jim Boulter. As Dr. Fielding said, I'm in Public Health and Environmental Studies, so I'm a colleague of Dr. Brianna Rockler. And like her course, this is going to be a course that's focused on completing a project of importance to the university and the community. So a little bit of background on myself, first of all. My PhD is in chemistry, but very early on, I specialized in atmospheric chemistry and so climate. And as I've grown more and more concerned, like all of us, about the future of the world and a changing climate, I've grown much more interested in what is our response to that, to climate change. And so along the way, I've gotten really involved in sustainability studies. I'm super excited to be teaching a class this semester, a colloquium this semester with Dr. Fielding, looking at the fascinating text by Kim Stanley Robinson called The Ministry for the Future, a book about climate change. So this is a very different sort of course. It's really a skill building course. And by way of explaining what the course is about, let me ask you all a question. The carbon footprint of the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, how big do you think it is? What do you think the biggest contributions are to our carbon footprint? Why do we care what the carbon footprint is? And what use would that knowledge be to us? Well, I'm going to actually just share my screen with you, and hopefully this works out. One of the things that this class does, can you see that on the screen? Can someone say whether they, okay, great. So one of the things that this class does is it measures the campus carbon footprint on an annual basis. And we've been doing that off and on for several years now. As Dr. Fielding said, this is a long-standing course. And one thing you can see that at least in 2021, that is the academic year 2020 through 2021, and this is the results from the last class, last fall, got these results. We can see that most of that carbon footprint you see in the blue wedge of that pie there is actually from the campus steam plant. But usually in different years, we would actually find out that a lot more of that carbon footprint came from study abroad and directly financed air travel, which is students going to conferences and students going to other countries and faculty going to conferences and stuff. And so what we learn about in this class is we learn something about our own institution, which is what is our carbon footprint and what comprises it. We're also learning how it's changing over the years. And what you can see here is that students on this campus have been measuring the campus carbon footprint since 2008. Since 2010, it first became an honors course. And so honors students have been responsible for measuring it every other year initially. You can see that, and more recently on an annual basis. And what you can see is last year it was a lot lower. Why was it a lot lower? Well, it turns out we weren't engaging in much air travel because of COVID. And so we'll be really interested to see how our campus carbon footprint has changed as we begin to emerge back out of our COVID reality. And so What are we going to be doing in the class? Well, that's the conclusion of the class. That's kind of what we end up doing. But as the class says, it's called taking the measure of sustainability. And so first of all, we're going to explore what does sustainability mean? And there's a lot of definitions of sustainability. We'll look at several of them. But one commonly held definition is that it's sort of the intersection of healthy people and healthy environment and healthy economy. And so what we're going to be doing is not just talking about what sustainability is and how we make sustainable decisions, but we're actually going to say, how do we quantify, how do we make quantitative measurements of sustainability that help us to make good decisions? What does it mean to have sustainable lifestyles? We'll look at personal ecological footprints. What does it mean to have sustainable products? And there we'll be looking at something called life cycle assessment, which is an increasingly important tool that many businesses and corporations are using to improve their products and make their products more sustainable. We'll look at sustainable buildings, and we'll probably even look at the Sonnentag Center as it's starting to be built and understand building rating systems like LEED and WELL and how those relate to the buildings that we live in and inhabit. What does it mean to be a sustainable society? And of course, what does it mean to be a sustainable university? And so we'll look at all of those things, and we're going to be looking at figuring out how we can measure these sustainability sort of metrics so that we can make sustainable decisions, so that we can ensure that we're going to be in a healthy world down the road for our children and grandchildren and future generations. One of the touch points for this class is you can't measure what you can't, so you can't manage what you can't measure. And if you can't manage it, you can't change it. And so this is a real skill building, it's introduction to all of these sorts of these sustainability metrics. But my goal is that through this, students will actually come out of this with a set of skills that they can go to future employers and say, yeah, I know something about life cycle assessment. I know something about carbon footprinting and so forth. And maybe I have an ulterior motive. And if that I do have an ulterior motive, it's that. I want to empower students or graduates, really our alumni, to go out in the world and make the world more sustainable. Really exciting outcome of this class as I talk to students who've graduated, to our alumni who've left and gone out in the world. Just was talking to a student a couple weeks ago who from this class who is now at Ernst & Young, and she is using these same sorts of sustainability metrics, and she's talking about how Ernst & Young can't hire enough of students with these sorts of skills. And so I'm really excited by the fact that students get to leave this class with a small taste of some of these techniques and skills, and hopefully that really empowers them to use their education to make the world a more survivable and livable place. So yeah, I hope to see you all there and continue on the long and storied tradition of honor students really contributing to the sustainability of the university in a really meaningful and concrete way. So hope to see you there.
Thank you, Dr. Boulter. Another course I'm really proud that we get to offer. So we have another set of courses that we're not going to talk about tonight, but you can read about them in the course catalog. These are some more honors sections of courses in other departments. We've got some brand new offerings this time around. We're going to have an honors psychology 101, which I'm really excited about, and also for the first time an honors introduction to biomedical engineering. So we've got a bunch of chemistry, we've got some biology, we have environmental geology, and also intro to sociology. I think I got them all. And finance 320. Yes. Okay. That's it. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks y'all who came in person and braved the snow. Thanks to y'all who joined us on Zoom. Thank you so much to our faculty for being here with us tonight. If you have any trouble, any questions, want to talk about how to fit honors into your life, please don't hesitate to make an appointment and come chat with us or with a peer advisor. I'll be sending all this info out in email first thing tomorrow morning with a link to the course catalog. Have a good night, everybody.